Okay. Just a quick one. Succubus 1.01 just dropped. The in brackets patch notes say improved graphics for PS5, which no one gives a fuck about, and minor fixes. That's all it says. So I've jumped in here and seeing if they've fixed the fucking censorship bullshit, and appears to be a big fat fucking no. And it took 2 goes to start it up. It's getting stuck on a intro. So when you first boot it up, it shows a black screen, and then it goes, oh, Unreal Engine, insert bodgy companies here, and then it's like, start your game. But it was stuck on the black screen. It wouldn't load the logos. So I had to close app and start it up again. So from what I can see in the settings, in all this sort of stuff here, if I go to selfie mode, I've got this armor on. You can still see the pixels there. Field of view, so if you, I don't know whether there's a gap. There's holes in the character. I can see through. I can see through the. Yes. So, oh my god. If you want to play this kind of game, play Agony. It's uncensored. It's a good game. This game is supposed to be part 2 to it, and it's dog piss. It's got great potential, but it's dog piss. It's censored. It doesn't always start first go. It's, yeah. I cannot find in here, as I push the button twice, in here, general. There is supposed to be down the bottom a censorship on or off. PC has it. So it's either Sony are being arseholes, fuckwits, cunts, or the game developer or the porter is being those words. There's no... I don't want to see numbers coming out of the thing. It's got show armor. If I turn that off, show HUD. Let's turn that off, because all that does is put the let's turn it all off. Filter it's got outline, none, matrix, all this sort of stuff. That all still looks the same. I've done outline because of if you look at my other video, the outline, you can see through the pixelization. You can see some shape. Like if you look, it's pretty hard to see that one, but it shows the outline of whatever you're looking at. Maybe here. Yeah, there. Actually, let's go this way into the light so you can see it. No, wait, what, did they change that? Let me on this side. I can see it on this side, but I can't on this side. Oh, no, you can just make it out. There's an outline, so you can kind of cheese the pixelization. There should be an option to turn that off. PC has it, so either Sony's been a pack of assholes, or the game developers have been a pack of assholes. So I've got show, as you can see, like looking down, I've got show armor turned off, so you can still see the outline where the breast is and the hip and all that. Through that, when a game is about lust, which is what this game is about, lust. If I click on circle there, what's that do? Collects it? Whoop-de-fucking do. So a game about lust, which includes nudity, and this is my, in brackets, safe house. So there's next to none, there's less here, but in the world there's all this sort of shit. And when the game is about sexual intercourse, nudity, all that sort of stuff, because it's lust, and you're gonna go, oh, let's pixelate nudity. It's like, so you're gonna pixelate with the game? Why even release it, you absolute scumbag losers? So the 1.01 update hasn't fixed anything from what I can tell. There's no way to turn the pixels off, the mosaic off. Even though I'm of mature age and I bought a mature... This is a mature game. There's no way to turn that shit off like you're supposed to be able to. I'm hazarding a bet it's Sony been assholes, and not so much the game developer. It could be the porter, the people who are porting it, because it isn't published or ported by the company that makes it. Because if it was, it'd be exactly the same as the first one, and it's not. You can see the differences, and not just in. Yeah, that's nice and all. Whoop-de-fucking-do.
This.
So there's all your weapon customizations, but there's no point in clicking on it because you can't, you know, yeah. So if I go to like customization of the character, there it is. Like, what's the point? Let's change the body. That's cool and all. Not the face, the body. Oh, let's change the breasts. Like, breast perkiness. How do I know what the perkiness looks like? It's mosaiced. Breast size. I don't know. It's mosaiced. Inspect. Down. There we go. It's mosaic. I can't see anything unless I zoom all the way in and then move the camera to just the right spot. You can kind of get a. That's as close as I can get. A hint at what's underneath there, because the mosaic gets to the point where it's. But it's like, where's the switch to turn that off? I was hoping 1.01 would correct this situation and add that, but no. There's no switch like there's supposed to be to turn mature content on or off. So if you're hoping that 1.0...
Just how I...
Oh yeah, because I'm in armors, that's why. Okay, I was thinking, why has she got clothes on now? So there's the two outfits, there's that one, and there's that one. I equipped this one in the hopes that, you know, the boobs are covered and the lady parts are underneath, so when you're in first person, there'd be no nauseating, disgusting, feral mosaic. Like this, like, the whole character is a pixelated blur because of fuckwits at a corporation want to withhold a product. Now they're not breaking a law like CD Projekt Red are, or like Dambuster and Deep Silver are with Dead Island, but it's still a fucking douchebag, scumbag, loser, shithead move that they're pulling. And as I've stated multiple times before, until CD Projekt Red are taken to court and are fined and forced to correct it, people are just going to follow suit. CD Projekt Red, so Paul Sasko, Marcin, Mike Wazowski, as I call him, they're all breaking a law. And they're getting away with it. And until they don't get away with it, all these other companies are going to look and go, oh, they get away with it, we can get away with it, and they're going to do it. Hence the reason why Dead Island 2 came out advertised as a multiplayer. Play with your friends. And it's, no you can't. You can't play with your friends because we've put a restriction on the game because we wanted to. And because they can't just do that, because all the blind dummies that support these sort of companies will go, oh yeah, okay, you can't just say, yeah, you've done it because you wanted to. They've given the excuses it's played peer-to-peer. And I can tell you right now, this whole peer-to-peer bullshit that Dambuster and Deep Silver are using for Dead Island 2 as an excuse is bullshit. If your console can run the game, then your console can run a peer-to-peer on that game. It's just the way it works. Unless they're pulling some shady bullshit in the background, there is zero reason why a game console that can run... Oh look, that's not pixeled. That can run a game on a console. So for example, the PlayStation 4 or the Xbox One can run Dead Island. So therefore it can run a peer-to-peer version of that game. Because nothing changes on its computing. On the worst that will happen is a lag between the host and the person who joins. You see it in other games. The original Dying Light is a good example. You kill a zombie and you go to loot it, and your friend that's in your game will say, no, for me the zombie's over in this spot. So for example, like if I kill a creature here, I'll see the body here, but my friend, he might see the body here. That is what happens when a peer-to-peer game is run and there are, in brackets, issues. That's the kind of issues you get. Not that it can't run the game, because it can run the game. Because it runs the game in solo, so therefore it can run it in peer-to-peer. Because a peer-to-peer doesn't mean that my console is running your game, because it's not. My console is running my game. Your console is running your game. The only thing that my console is doing extra is updating situations of where the dead body is, and that sort of stuff. Their Dambusters on their Deep Silver's website, if you go digging for it, because it's not when you open the website up, there's a big sticker, we're a pack of liars, we've implemented restrictions on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One and used the excuse of peer-to-peer for the reasoning of it. They don't do that. You have to go digging for it, and when you finally find it, it states that the game uses a peer-to-peer system, dribble, 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 cross-gen, dribble, 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 and then it goes, we've implemented a restriction to PS4 and Xbox One because we would like to use the excuse of because peer-to-peer and the computing required to do that, it can't handle it, which is horseshit. I can tell you right now, with my knowledge of computers, programming, data transfer, all that sort of shit, it is bullshit. Plain and simple bullshit. They are feeding lies and people are believing it. A peer-to-peer, the only thing that gets sent from my console to your console is the stuff that changes in the game. So when I run Minecraft, when you first load into the game, my console will go, okay, I've got to send the data, the numbers and of the game state at this present time to that console. So it then transfers, I'm at coordinates this, there's a lava pool at this coordinate, that sort of stuff. When you've then joined, you can run around all you like. It doesn't change, it doesn't send any data except for your coordinates are changing and my coordinates are changing. Then if I dig a block up, it will then send the coordinates of the block that was dug up, going, it's gone from dirt to air. It will send that data to your console. So if there's anything that would restrict a peer-to-peer game in the aspect of Dead Island, it's internet connection, not the console. If the console can run it, it can run peer-to-peer with zero issues. If there are any issues, it is through the connection from one console to the other. It's not the consoles, it's the connection. So for example, if you're running on a dial-up connection, you can run it, we'll say 100 kilobytes a second, which is dog piss, but that's what we used to get. Then running a game like Dead Island 2, you will get issues because it's 100 kilobytes a second. It can't send across that a zombie has died from a decapitation of the knee while wearing this outfit of this type of zombie. There's more than 100 kilobytes in that data transfer, and it would take a handful of seconds to do that. But if you're running 100 megabytes a second, you're running, hell, even 10 megabytes a second. The amount of data that the console requires to send to tell the player 2 or 3 that a zombie of this type, which your console already knows, because the data's on the disk or on the hard drive. When you bought the game, it's there. It already knows all the stuff. So it's going to go, okay, data of zombie 6, type 6, has had a decapitation of the knee, while we're in outfit 3 in color 7. Just say that's what it sends. No way in the world is that 10 megabytes worth of data. You're lucky if that's a couple of kilobytes. If there's 50 zombies dying all at once, yeah, you'll start to notice a little bit of, okay, that zombie isn't updating as quickly as it should. But it's not that the console can't handle it. The console can handle it perfectly fine. Admittedly, if you're doing a million zombies blowing up, then the console will struggle. But it would also struggle if you do that in a single player. So hopefully, that will explain why, like, yeah. Hey viewer, just checking out the 1.01 update, and it hasn't fixed the mosaic. It's Succubus. Don't buy it. Go buy Agony. It's a better game, and it's uncensored. I'm also talking about how Dead Island 2, Dambuster and Deep Silver are feeding lies by saying that their peer-to-peer game cannot be run on the ps4 or the Xbox One because of its peer-to-peer and the console can't handle it, and how that is bullshit, because if the console can run the game in single player, it can run the game in peer-to-peer. So them saying, oh, it can't handle it, it's horseshit. They're feeding lies. They're telling lies and people are believing it. And I'm also explaining how the reason Dambuster have done it, or Deep Silver have done it, and they're going to continue to do it, and other companies are going to follow suit, is because CD Projekt Red broke a law, got away with breaking the law. They're still breaking it today. And they're not, there's no ramification. So it's like, if you're a game developer going, oh, hang on, CD Projekt Red broke a law, and they got no side effects, we can do it too, and it's just going to get worse. So when Pal Sasko tweets like it did the other day, oh, he's proud to be in a managerial role. It's like, go fuck yourself, cunt. You have stolen and broken a law by withholding a product from your customers, and you're proud of it? Go fuck yourself, cunt. And obviously Dambuster, and I can't say for sure whether it's Dambuster or whether it's Deep Silver, because I don't know how they run their business over there. And the fact that this game, the performance of the game itself, is quite good. In single player, because you can't do multiplayer because they're arseholes and criminals, because they are breaking a law, by the way. I'll explain the law in a second, but it's the same law that CD Projekt Red are breaking. Anyway, they've gone, oh, they've made the game, it performs well and all that, and someone along the lines is going, hang on, Cyberpunk, they broke a law, let's break that same law, do something that's dirty, rotten, and scumbaggy law breaking, because we can get away with it. And that's what's happened. And the next company that does it is going to do the same thing. Oh, CD Projekt done it, and Dambuster and Deep Silver, we can do it as well. And eventually you're just going to get a whole buttload of things. Well, you're going to pay a full price game, and you're going to get a mobile game that's busted for $100. It's like, and when you complain about it, the wankers on Twitter are going to go, "Oh, you're just bitching." Yeah. So, if you're watching this video at a later state and you're still watching it, that means you're interested in what's going on. So I'm going to explain the law, and if you don't care, like, you're one of these people that's like, I don't give a fuck, you're not helping the situation, but it's your choice. So those that are actually interested in the law that Deep Silver, Dambuster, CD Projekt Red and all that are breaking is called the Custom Rights Act. I've spoken about it before. I've never gone into all the finer details and everything like that, because if you read laws, they don't just say it's against the law to kill someone, because that's too easy. They'll write it in like long words and long sentences and use alternate versions of certain words, you know, the way the law does. But the Customer Rights Act, in the simplest form, is when someone buys something, it has to be that thing, and it has to work. It's that simple. That's what the law is. So, for example, if you buy a bottle of water, it has to be a bottle of water. If you buy a car, it has to be a car. And not only does it have to be a car, but it has to work at the quality that you've purchased it at. So if they say it's a working car, you have to receive a working car. If it says it's a car, but the engine doesn't start, or there's no engine, and you've signed, yeah, I agree that I'm receiving a car with no engine, then that's fine. But if you sign saying you're getting a car with an engine, and the car doesn't have an engine, there's no engine there, it's all missing, then you have the right to go, okay, no, that is wrong, and they have to fix it. Because that's why the law's there, to protect the customers. So when a company, CD Projekt Red, goes, okay, we're going to give you this game, if you give us the money, you'll receive this game. So me and millions of others, because they sold millions of copies, have gone, okay, I'm up for this game. So you sign saying you want that game. The game is an open world, role-playing, futuristic, cyberpunk, mature, uncensored game. Okay, there's my money. There's my $100, because in my region a full price game is $100. Cyberpunk, CD Projekt going, thank you for the money. You've then, that's your signature going, you've agreed to receive this particular game. And when it comes out, and the censorship is incorrect, because off is off and on is on, not off is off and on is off. No, that's not the way it works. Or off is on and on is on, or whichever order you want to say it. It's like, if the light switch is off, the light is off. If the light switch is on, the light is on. That's correct. But it's not just about the nudity censor, because that is, the product is incorrect. But the working part of the Customer Rights Act is that the product has to be working in the state you've agreed to. Now, the signature of all the customers were of the game running on our console. So we agreed to get a game that would run and would be uncensored. And we got a game that does not run and is censored. So that's two parts of that law that they have broken. Now, the Dam Buster and Deep Silver part, it's only one part of it. They sold it to us as a multiplayer game that I can jump in with my friends and play the game. And the fact that I can't is a breach of the Customer Rights Act. They promised that the product I bought, I could play with my friends, and I can't. And it's not because of a limitation of the console, because the console can run it in single player, so therefore it can run it in peer-to-peer. They say, oh, but we don't use the server, so we can't. Server's got nothing to do with it. Data transfer rates are what affects a peer-to-peer. If the console can run it in single player, it can run it in a peer-to-peer. Some games, when you play the game, for example, PUBG, for example, PlayerUnknown's Battleground, that isn't a peer-to-peer. That is a server-based game. And there's multiple reasons why they do that. Generally speaking, it's for better performance on the user end, because their server can take all the freaking the players and send it out through their better networking system. Your console can still run PUBG if they would let you single player PUBG, you could. It'll run. It'll be perfectly fine. But it'll be just you. If you then invite 100 people to your console, your home, its internet isn't strong enough to deal with 100 different, like as I was saying before, with this player is at this coordinates in this state. You wouldn't be able to, your internet would not be able to handle that. And that is the reason why a lot of those games are server based, along with monetization. They do not want to risk Bob, Jack, John, Rebecca, whatever the in brackets cheater's name is. They don't want to risk that person altering the data to cheat. And hence the reason why they use a server. So all your, how much money you've got, what weapons you're allowed to use, your level, all this stuff is usually saved on their server. And then when you boot the game up, your console asks their server, what information do I need? And is this rank? He's got these weapons. He's allowed these pieces of clothing. And that is why a lot of these MMOs are usually server based, because the connection of the server is a hell of a lot better. They're not running your usual 15 to 50 megabytes a second. They've usually got 500 to a gigabyte connection speeds. Now, with Cyberpunk, it's a single player only. So whether we cheat or not should make any damn difference. But Cyberpunk's problem isn't with using the bandwidth or the transfer rates. Theirs is, we just want to be criminals and not give the customers the product they purchased, so we're just not going to give it to them. We're going to withhold it. We're going to put the data in the game that will overwrite the correct data to withhold they purposely added extra data in the game file to withhold the correct game. And then Dambuster and Deep Silver have just gone, we're just going to withhold, we're going to give you extra data to turn off the hosting function. So both these companies are breaking the same law in slightly different ways, but they're breaking the same law, the Customer Rights Act. And they're getting away with it because dickhead, especially on the Twitter, like these idiots on Twitter, like one guy, I was just looking back through the Twitter yesterday because Pal Sasko, the scumbag, tweeted he was proud of being in a managerial role now. So I've told him to go fuck himself, he's a criminal. But I looked back and there was a guy that, I just spent 20 minutes of my life, because I'm a no-lifer, going through your account to see all your other posts, and you're a loser. It's like, did he read what he just wrote? He calls me a loser, but yet he just spent 20 minutes of his life going through my account to see my posts to call me the loser. It's like, I went on there because someone posted, in this particular case it was CD Projekt Red, about, I think they have an issue with one of the graphics cards or something like that. I don't give a fuck. I just want my damn fucking game from those cunts. But they posted something about it, so I replied to them, how about you give us our game, you criminals? And this guy's gone, I'm a no-lifer now, so I've got to spend 20 minutes going through his account. I spent 2 minutes, not even, typing. It would be quicker if I had a proper keyboard, but that, a stupid phone touch screen where you push one letter and you press 12 letters, because fat finger. So I spent maybe 1 to 2 minutes typing a message saying, how about you give us our product that we purchased over 2 years ago, scumbags? And this guy's, how do you? I'm going to spend an hour, 20 minutes to an hour going through your account. It's like, who's the loser? Is the pathetic guy? Definitely not me. Yeah, so just to quickly touch on Sony and their folder system. I have some folders set up for games. So I've got my diskless ones, my ones that have discs, the good games, the bad games, the okay games, this sort of stuff. When I have to add a folder and go broken, and put a couple of games in that, it gets a little annoying. But then when I have to add one called criminal, because the game's actually criminal, and I've got 2 games in that folder now. For the last 2 years, it's been just Cyberpunk in that folder, because it actually is criminal what they're doing. Not I think it's criminal, it is actually criminal. If you read the law, they're in breach of it. And then Dambuster and all that bring their game out, which was like 15 years in the making. It doesn't have the performance issues that Cyberpunk has. Like, Cyberpunk's performance on current gens, which is PS4 and Xbox One, is disgusting. Seriously, indie developers, one-man indie developers, release games in better condition. And then they not only do not correct the performance issue, but then they also restrict the correctness of the game by overriding the censorship with an extra censorship that cannot be turned off. That is on purpose, actively withholding the product. And that's against the law. And then Dambuster and Deep Silver bring out Dead Island 2, and they do the same thing. It's not the censorship, it's the multiplayer. But they're doing the same thing. They added extra code to actively withhold the correct game. Now, Cyberpunk does not work correctly, and it is incorrect. Whereas Dead Island does work correctly, but it is not correct. The fact that you buy a multiplayer game and cannot host because they've added a fake reason, because it's fake. That is not the reason they've done it. They've done it. Probably they've signed something with Sony and Microsoft to make us buy a next gen. So they've actively turned it off on the current gens to try and force us to buy next gen. That's probably what happened. And like, I know my knowledge of the law is very restrictive when it comes to like what parts of the law I know well and what parts of the law I don't know well, but the parts of the law I know well, that is got to be against the law as well. But the parts I do know, and you know, 'cause my parents brought me up well and stuff like that, the whole correct and working order, the Customer Rights Act law, Dead Island 2 and Cyberpunk are both in breach of it. Both those games are actually actively breaking a law. And they're going to go, oh, but clause, and clause. It's like, the clause that Dead Island 2 is using, the clause is that the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One can't handle it. Yeah, the PS4 and Xbox One can't handle it is bullshit. It's lies. The PS4 and the Xbox One can handle it. It can run it in single player, so therefore it can run it in peer-to-peer. The Cyberpunk situation, their clause is, I don't know what. Here's a wad of money. Ignore it. Because the performance, they can downscale every single texture in the game to half of what it is. It'll perform 1,000,000% better. And then they can correct the nudity sensor, and both games are all of a sudden not breaking any laws. But they choose not to. And keyword, choose not to. So I'm going to call the stream there, guys. A Succubus is still, yeah, don't bother. It's still censored. They've removed the censorship switch because of God knows why. And Dead Island 2 and Cyberpunk are still breaking a law. Actively breaking the law. So don't buy them either. Boycott them. Pull a Budweiser on them. And then, yeah. So I'm out here. Stay safe. And I'll catch you the next time. See yous.